Friends, patriots, and fellow guardians of Western civilization, I stand before you in the great city of Budapest, humbled by your hospitality and inspired by your resolve. Hungary may be a nation of only 10 million, but it punches far above its weight in the struggle for faith, family, and freedom. The fact that CPAC meets here on the banks of the Danube River proves that the battle for the soul of the West has a front line in Central Europe, and that front line is holding strong. I bring greetings from the United States, where President Donald J. Trump has reclaimed the White House. And President Trump is once again leading a populist revival that places ordinary citizens ahead of global cartels. Today, America walks the same path that Hungary chose years ago, a path of sovereign self-determination, economic nationalism, and unapologetic cultural confidence. Your Prime Minister, yes. Your Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, showed the world what courageous leadership can rescue a nation from drift and despair. He used the legitimate powers of the state to defend families, protect borders, revive faith, and spark an economic renewal. And for that, he was caricatured as a villain by Soros-funded academics, sanctimonious NGOs, cynical press barons, and feckless bureaucrats. They called him illiberal, but Hungarians called him our prime minister. And at the ballot box, the people had the final word. And again, by margins that no Brussels bureaucrat can dispute, Orban's example taught conservatives everywhere a simple lesson. Principles without power are simply slogans. He married principle to power, and Hungary prospered. Migration chaos was stopped at the border. Birth rates have climbed because mothers could raise children without sacrificing careers. Traditional marriage received both legal and financial reinforcements. Schools once again taught that patriotism is important instead of simply self-loathing your past and your ancestry. While the European Union flirted with energy poverty and geopolitical catastrophe, Hungary practiced diplomacy grounded in realism, offering itself as a mediator rather than a megaphone for endless war and bloody conflict. Budapest became a lighthouse and dark sea of incompetence. Across the Atlantic, my nation endured its own darkness from 2021 to very recently in 2024. We suffered through a corrupt and incompetent figurehead, propped up by an invisible clique of global schemers. In 4 years, they wrecked our country. They destroyed our energy independence, erased borders, and attempted to criminalize dissent. Yet through it all, millions of ordinary Americans kept the faith that God, in his providence, would not abandon a free people. We fought an uphill battle. Our movement's champion, President Donald J. Trump, faced indictments for imaginary crimes. He shouldered relentless daily smears. Republican mandarins whispered that populism and conservatism was a passing fad. Lawfare bankrupted or imprisoned his most loyal lieutenants. And when those stratagems failed, an assassin's bullet ripped through the air in Pennsylvania, grazing his ear, but failing to stop the man or the mission. Yet Americans neither bowed nor broke. We marched, organized, prayed, and voted. And today, President Trump sits behind the resolute desk once more, armed with a popular mandate to demolish the architecture of globalist tyranny. His administration, thank you. President Trump's administration is restoring energy dominance, rebuilding the industrial heartland, banning the mutilation of children, and uprooting the administrative state that choked liberty in our country for decades. He has demonstrated that conservatives need not be spectators to the left's cultural revolution. In fact, we can be counter-revolutionaries who take the offensive and never relinquish the initiative. The Hungarian and American experiences have fused into a universal playbook: secure the border, deport illegal immigrants, rebuild industry with tariffs and patriotic labor policies, strengthen families through tax relief, direct subsidies, and cultural affirmation, and assert civilizational confidence by teaching heritage rather than self-hate. And you fight the globalist lawfare head-on, lawfully but relentlessly. Wherever this formula is applied, elites panic and people rejoice. Because our movement is growing, our enemies grow more desperate, And you only have to look across the continent to see that in play. Look to France, for instance, where Marine Le Pen has been barred from the presidential ballot on trumped-up charges. Look to Germany, where the AfD is labeled extremist and placed under total surveillance. Look to Romania, where globalist interests colluded with social media platforms to erase an election victory and then steal its do-over. Everywhere, the refrain is the same: destroy democracy in order to save it. This deceit, calling censorship safety or tyranny tolerance and invasion humanitarianism, it is the black magic of globalism. Yet the human soul rejects these lies. Men and women long for the truth just as lungs long for air. And that is why every authoritarian stunt accelerates the globalist collapse. Our founding father, Thomas Jefferson, warned that the tree of liberty demands constant tending. Elections alone are not enough. If you win an election and then retreat to private life, the left will use the intermission to reconquer the field. Their networks, financed by transnational oligarchs, shielded by captured institutions, never pause. You see them in the color revolution mobs besieging patriotic capitals. You see them in the corporate boardrooms that force woke dogma on every household. You see it in the classrooms where innocent children are taught to despise their ancestors and deny biological reality. These are disciplined, ruthless, and tireless people, yet they lack the one thing, the one ally that cannot be bribed or bullied: Almighty God. We therefore have no excuses. We therefore have no excuses. We must build parallel institutions, churches, schools, banks, platforms, and political parties that serve our values and our people. When we march, we must march together. Conservatives, patriots, nationalists, Christians, and every person of goodwill who refuses to kneel to this post-human technocracy. My friends, you are on the vanguard of a civilizational crusade. The decisions we make in the coming months, from Budapest to Washington, will echo for centuries. Our children will either inherit a flourishing Christian West or a digital plantation run by oligarchs who delete souls as easily as they cancel bank accounts. The choice is stark, but our path is clear. Wake up each morning and be prepared for spiritual combat. Know that allies stand beside you in Washington, Budapest, Jerusalem and Rome, Bratislava and Belgrade, Tbilisi and Buenos Aires. Nascent parties and movements are rising in every province, district, and campus. We share intelligence, we coordinate strategy, and back each other when the regime's hammer comes down. Our watchword is solidarity, our anthem is truth, and our sword is courage. We do not fight merely to conserve what once was, we fight to build what must be. A reborn America faithful to its constitutional promise, a Hungary that remains a beacon of ordered liberty, and a Europe that rediscovers the covenant that made it Christendom. And nations everywhere that regain the right to charter their own destiny under God, we stand with them. And I ask you today to pledge here and now that we will accept nothing less than total victory over the forces that mock our faith, dissolve our borders, and poison our children. No compromise, no half measures, no surrender. So with that, my friends, God bless Hungary, God bless the United States of America, and God bless all the God-fearing patriots across the continent. We must stand together against the rise of this tyranny and this global elite to achieve our national renewals together. And we will keep America great, we will keep Hungary great, and we will make the world great again, not simply for an election cycle, not even just for one generation, but for the next millennia to come. Thank you and Godspeed.